Hello, Fearless Gamers, and welcome to another podcast here on Fearless Games. I'm Matt the Vet, and today I'm joined by...
James Wildcard.
How's it going?
Pretty good, how are you?
Pretty good. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year's.
Yes, Happy New Year to all of you listening out there.
Yes. New Year's abound.
Did you have a fun New Year's Eve?
It was fine.
It was just fine. Fine, tra-la-la.
I don't do too much with New Year's because it's kind of like all that build up for literally like a 10-second countdown, and then it's like, well, because I can go home now. It's like...
You don't understand. You don't understand the true meaning.
I don't, but that's...
Of Christmas.
Of Christmas in New Year's in August.
Yeah.
Yeah, so basically we have like a 3-month reprieve until we start seeing Christmas stuff again in stores.
Pretty much.
Sad but true. Oh,
yep.
I wish that was a joke, but it really is kind of serious.
It is.
Yep. So, I don't know if I mentioned this before, but MechWarrior Online is now on Steam.
Is it?
Yeah, which I take as a good sign, because that's a readier and more steady supply of a larger player base to potentially stumble across it who didn't know anything about it before and be intrigued, especially because it's free to play. So I look at it as a good thing, and my hope is that maybe in time, if the Steam thing works out well, like I think it's going to, then maybe they'll get the ability to maybe acquire the rights or whatever to make some single-player story missions.
Never. Because
that would be really cool. Because literally everything is there. Everything is there for... All I need to do is code in a mission, single-player mission, and it'd be good to go.
They will never.
But it's cool to see it on Steam. Because I'm sure some people may be like, I don't want to go download something else and do this and do that. Well, now it's on Steam. So even less reasons not to try it if you were even remotely interested.
Except for the whole issue they had recently.
Well, not really. I mean, that's no different than when the hackers take down the PlayStation Network because they want to have fun for a day.
No, it's Steam, the all-in-powerful, so because it happened to them, we now condemn them.
Well, you don't need any information on Steam that would get to your bank account, and since the game's free to play, you don't need to worry about that either.
Or do you? I don't know. I'm just being stupid right now.
But I don't know. But my point is that it's free to play and it's on Steam. Like, it's as close as you can get to a
easiest way of catching it.
Of getting it. I was at a Best Buy the other day.
Uh-huh.
And I saw what was once, because I remember when there was a whole section for PC games and software, and then I saw the 2-shelf pity section in the back.
Pretty much.
And it was funny that what was on there, what dominated it, most of the stuff there was Diablo 3, StarCraft 2, Heart of the Swarm, StarCraft 2, Legacy of the Void.
Which I finally started playing. I'm up to near the final mission, actually, right now.
Nice.
And wow, is that mission kind of brutal.
Isn't it?
It's like, oh yeah, just deal with 3 area, actually 360-degree area of attacks on you.
Yeah. It's kind of brutal, and yeah, but I being a protest fan, I really like Legacy of the Void, and as you mentioned, that's the one most chock full of story, like plot, like lore of the universe.
Yeah, you get a lot of information out of that. You kind of feel like there's going to be a test at the end of this game.
But yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed that one, but. Yep. So if you want to learn more, Legacy of the Void's the way to learn it in StarCraft.
Yeah. And so now, just before we continue, because there's probably going to be here, you may want to skip ahead a bit, because there may be some spoilers going on. So how about them Force Awakens?
Oh, right. Well, there won't be any spoilers, because we won't say any. I'll just say I liked the movie. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I saw it multiple times, but I'm not going to say anything more, because I don't want to be one of those people who build up the hype train for people. You know what I mean?
I've yet to see it more than once right now, mainly because of time.
Right.
I have to say, it was Star Wars, like,
Yeah,
through.
That is like everybody... Well, everybody who liked the movie basically said it's Star Wars. And then you got
my dad
who don't
hated it, but then again, the excuses he was making were like, you just wanted to hate this film to hate a movie, because he's sitting there going like, the villain wore all black, blah, 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 that's stupid, that's just like the other films. And I'm like, that's every Western you ever watched that you say is a great cinematic genius.
Like, that's just quintessential bad guy. That's like the rules. It's the rules of any bad guy.
How else are we supposed to know he's the bad guy?
I mean, even in Legion, when the villain is the Archangel Gabriel, he's in black armor. I mean, like, and he's an angel from God, and he's wearing black or dark-colored grays because he's the villain of the movie.
You know,
spoilers for Legion, but
it's. Oh please! No one ever watched Legion.
I did.
We were the only ones that stupidly went to the theaters. For
I own it also, and I liked it. I liked it because it was basically religious Terminator. It really was. Instead of coming back, instead of Kyle Reese coming back in time, it's somebody who becomes mortal it's Michael who becomes mortal to protect the lady who's pregnant with the chosen one baby, aka John Connor.
It was actually John Connor. They were trying to stop another Terminator movie from happening.
But so I mean, I could lay down dozens of things that you could point to and say makes this a bad movie for the Force Awakens, but that's because it's a movie and no movie's perfect. There's going to be things that, and also personal. Listen, it's not shattering records and the time it takes to break records for nothing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
it is definitely worth watching, and if you don't like it, well, you don't like it. And
exactly.
We're sorry that you don't like it.
Right. Like, I enjoyed it, and without saying anything specifics and all that, all I'll say is it's not Destiny. It's not selling a lot of money for really lame content, put it to you that way. It's not making a lot of money off of virtually nothing content-wise. Okay? It's actually earning its money. For sure. For sure.
I'm definitely excited. I can't wait for the next one. I'm a little sad that JJ is not in on this next one because he did such a good job on this one.
Yeah, it's an interesting take. All I gotta say is, when I saw it, every time I saw it, there was a Star Trek trailer before it, and I'm like, bold move, Star Trek, bold move.
That's odd, I did get one.
I got one every time. I'm like, bold move, Star Trek, that's a ballsy move. I don't really know much, like, I'm not interested really much at all in this current Star Trek movie that's been, the trailer, because I'm like, I don't know what's going on. I saw that. And you know what I really am interested to see in theaters when it comes out? The live-action Jungle Book.
I didn't know they were making a live-action Jungle Book ever since Mowgli, when he was played by Liu Kang.
Right, but I mean, have you seen the trailer for it?
No, I haven't seen anything.
Because it's got Christopher Walken, Ben Kingsley, it's got Bill Murray, it's got Scarlett Johansson.
Dang.
It's pretty star-studded, and it looks really good. Like, it really looks good, and it's really sad. It looks way better than the Warcraft movie. I don't mean, like, because it'll be a better movie. Visually, it looks way better than the Warcraft movie, and that's sad. But, and I saw that in trailers, and I'm like, in theaters, I'm just like, just do good so we get more video game movies, but you don't look like you're going to succeed.
Yeah, no, it just doesn't look good.
Here, once an actual comment somebody in the theater said that a few rows behind me after the Warcraft trailer played?
What?
That looked like a Shrek movie. Because the orcs look very Shrekish.
Yep.
And I don't mean like because some of them are green or because they're giant, because the CG looked that bad.
Yeah, it does. And speaking of bad, I heard something very scary.
What?
M. Night Shyamalan is apparently still working on getting a sequel to Avatar: The Last Airbender.
What?
Apparently Shyamalan has not given up on the idea that he could make the trilogy.
At least he's got dreams.
But apparently he's still talking, and apparently he might have potentially have gotten it to happen.
Well, you know what? Whatever. Just another movie for me not to see. But, like...
I enjoyed watching how bad that movie was.
Right, but that's kind of like... Yes, I've seen that picture. That reminds me, I'll tell you something after we're done recording because I don't want to spoil anything. But that... It's like... That's like the original Dread. You couldn't really call it a good movie, but it was fun to watch.
It's so fun to watch.
It really still is. I am. What, can you repeat what you just said, sir? Only in English, please.
You want fear? I'm fear. You want chaos? I'm chaos. You want a beginning? Here, I am the beginning.
But like, and it's kind of like why I still play Destiny. It's not good, but I'm enjoying the controls when you don't get caught on a ledge that you should be able to walk up and get stuck, but when it actually works, and when you play it with friends, it's fun. But like, doesn't mean it's a good game. You know what I mean? It's the same concept.
And we got good news from Netflix. The producer of the two Dread movies has finally gotten us a new Dread addition to the whole Dread cinema. We're getting a Dread miniseries on Netflix.
Which is cool, but what I will say is this. As cool as that can be for fleshing out Dread story and maybe helping people make sense of what actually goes on in the Dread universe.
And maybe get us another movie.
Yeah, that's ideally what I'm hoping for. Because we gotta be, I mean, I'm by no means a Dread universe expert, but I know enough to know that stuff is crazy in that universe, so maybe this will help people understand that.
Yeah, it's so good, and they can kind of get away with a lot more with the Netflix.
Well,
series.
yeah, because they can afford to take more time to explain things in a series.
Not even just that; it's also like there's some things you can't get away with in a movie theater sequence because you cut your audience out. At least with Netflix. It's in a horrible sense, a lot more people can get access to the video despite its content.
No, yeah, no, I understand what you're saying, but I also think like a big thing is for a lot of different settings out there is when you have a series as opposed to a movie, it helps flesh out what exactly is going on. I mean, or you have the opposite happen with Firefly, which got canned, and then you had Serenity.
To be fair, Firefly suffered because they played the whole series out of order.
That and they were a Friday night slot. Yep.
One day, Mal knew the entire crew, and then 4 episodes later, no one knew who anybody was.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's a great show, and it was doomed to failure from the start because of poor planning, and it was a new show put on a Friday night spot. You don't do that with a new show, because nobody's going to watch it. But speaking of like Netflix and movies and stuff like that, this is nothing spoilery, but in watching and seeing stuff, and because Point Break came out, right? I didn't see it. But I will say this: one of the taglines I saw for the coming, like different commercials for it, either on the internet or on TV, it's like the Point Break for this generation. I didn't think every generation needed a Point Break.
Yeah.
B, you kind of just bashing the original Point Break, saying it can't span over generations. Yeah. And C, why do we need another Point Break? But that got me thinking.
And D, it can't be that good because the first one wasn't that good.
Right. That got me thinking though. Do you? Because one of the trends with moviedoms is after X amount of years, depending upon the movie, let's redo it. Better graphics, better maybe better acting, whatever. Do you think they'll ever touch the original trilogy of Star Wars and remake it? Like after, let's say, Harrison Ford and Mark Hamill and George Lucas are dead or something?
That I don't think so. I think Star Wars is one of those films where if you try to remake it, it just will fail on the fact that it's a remake.
I was thinking about that, and I was on the fence. I was thinking that, but then I was looking at how Star Trek kind of, redid Khan, and it was kind of good. But to be perfectly honest, I feel the only reason Into Darkness gets trashed the way it does
is not because it's a reenactment of 2, but because J.J. Abrams came out and said it's not going to be a remake of 2.
Oh, I'm not trashing it. I actually enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Like,
So I'm just saying, like, that's the problem with that film, was that J.J. went, I swear to God, people, this is not a remake of Wrath of Khan, and what did we get was a remake of Wrath of Khan.
Basically, yes. But I mean, like, but it was done, like, the execution of it being a remake was done well, in my opinion.
It was done well. I think it would have just been, like I said, I didn't know that J.J. made this promise, and I thoroughly enjoyed Into Darkness.
Yeah, I didn't know either until after the fact, but even, like, if he just built it as a remake, I think people would have been a lot more accepting of it.
Oh, yeah, but, definitely.
That's why I was thinking, like, because as much as I like 4, 5, and 6, with the technology we have now, in terms of not so much because practical effectum, it's not going to look any real different, right? When you have practical effects, it's going to pretty look similar whether it's 1970s or it's now. But with things that they were having technical difficulties with, like the Yoda puppet of constantly breaking down, and
the fact that
the
lightsaber, the fact that Luke's speeder has a yellow blob underneath it,
right? That the lightsabers, basically you have to tap them or they broke. You know what I mean? Like,
yep.
I think with modern day capability, without making crazy Yoda battles, you know what I mean? Like that, nothing that crazy, but making it like solid lightsaber battles that actually look like they are between Master and Master. Like when Obi-Wan fought Vader, it's supposed to be Jedi Master versus what we now know as a Sith Lord, and it looked like, all right, how do we use these things? It's like,
well, that was also because they were trying to do more of a kendo match. That was still when lightsaber battles haven't found their niche yet.
Well, yeah, but not even just that. They were going for certain styles, and if you look at the fluff of everything, Vader had to make a special style to get over his robotic suit limitations, and Obi-Wan is really defensive. But
and he's old.
Yes, and he's old. But
see,
it looked past that. It looked more like, all right, we got to clash swords, but let's do it very carefully now. Okay.
Now, little do people know, they actually have a forced conversation with each other, and Anakin goes, hey, remember when we used to be able to do flips and backflips and all this cool stuff? And Obi-Wan goes, yeah, and then Vader just goes, man, we're old.
Well, I mean, Vader has a pretty cool flip in, 5 when he gets kicked down the stairs.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's just one of those things where, how there's certain films that fail because they're remakes and everyone just says, well, I'm not going to see it because it's a remake. I think that's going to be what happens if they tried to do it with Star Wars, so I don't think Disney's going to try it until at least the original generation let's be honest, some of the younger generations don't like the originals.
And I can understand why, when you look at what they grew up watching and then they watch that and they go, this looks terrible. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think they're gonna have to wait at least when the generation, our generation that still liked the trilogy, is gone.
Well, I would say original people who were able to see it the very first day it came out back in 1977. You know what I mean?
Which was me.
Yeah, right. Back in time. But I look at 4, 5, and 6, and I really like them. And I know this is potential can of worms with fans out there, but at the same time, I look at what was done well with now 7 also as another thing, and just looking at our technology, movie making wise, and looking at how practical effects are still useful and people still do them. And if you combine what they did really nice and really well, which is the bulk of 4, 5, and 6, then you just give it a facelift, and you don't have the stormtrooper walking into the door because he's too tall, and you cut that out, and although it's funny, but
they can't, because Django does it, and he does it specifically to make that continuity.
But
I'm not kidding. That actually happens in Attack of the Clones. He digs his head.
I know, but what I'm saying is, but my point is, on the quote-unquote professional realm, you know what I mean, of moviedom, if you could freshen up what Star Wars 4, 5, and 6 is lacking because of technological constraints at the time, but keep all the goodness, I think it could be really cool. I would see it. I would pay to see it, and I would probably enjoy it, as long as it's not like a drastic retelling of the story. You know what I mean? It's
They just dub Vader with Hayden Christensen. We meet again, my master. When I left, I was but the learner. Now I am the master.
But like, I don't know. I think I forget who I was talking with about this the other day. Like they were complaining about the some of the stuff they were complaining about that got done to the original trilogy, update wise, and they were complaining about Anakin, Hayden Christensen being the Force Ghost for Vader. I'm like, but that makes I understand why you would prefer him not to be there because you just don't like Hayden Christensen as an actor, and I can fully support that idea. But it makes the most sense to actually update that with him.
The only thing though is my issue with it is not because Hayden Christensen. I actually did have a problem with his acting.
My problem with him is I call him a tryhard in certain, like when he was trying to be angry, he tried too hard. I'm like, just relax a little bit.
The only issue that I had with it is the logic behind it. It's going, he regressed back to when he was at the pinnacle of the light side, and I'm like, but he redeemed himself at that moment, so why is he the only one who gets a facelift? I'm like just watching Obi-Wan there going, oh, you son of a bitch.
Well, I mean, yeah, but at the same time, the Force Ghost for Anakin prior was some dude that nobody's like, who's that?
It was obvious, Anakin.
Well, I mean, like, when you first see it, you kind of go, wait a second, and then you write Anakin. But then now, if you look at that after, with episodes 1 through 6, you're going to go, who's that guy? You know what I mean? You're going to go, who is that guy? I've never seen this guy from 1 to 6, and then, but having it be the Anakin actor makes sense. They could have maybe, if they didn't want to have a Force Ghost of a horribly burned, amputated person, they could, at the very least, have aged Anakin to be the proper age look, but still look like Anakin, so maybe have shorter hair or whatever. Just look like he's older and not however many years it was from 3 to 4, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's, like a good 25 years.
Well, no, because Luke's supposed to be like 19.
Oh, you're talking
3 to 4.
Timeline-wise.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's roughly like a 19-year gap.
Yeah, so like I would say, and then all the way to 6 is probably around a 23 or so year gap from 3 to 6. And so if they just...
Well, if we're gonna use like their proper aging in it, then it would be 19, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, like 25-ish.
Right, yeah. So, I mean, if they took Hayden Christensen, Anakin look, and then they aged it 25 years, that would have been better. But, because you could still make the connection, that's Hayden Christensen, a.k.a. Anakin, but having that random dude, after seeing Hayden Christensen as Anakin for so long, I think, to me, I had no problem with it. Although he kind of phoned it in as a Force Ghost, but whatever.
Yeah, he's like, hey, I'm a ghost. I'm your dad. You look cool. Like all that extra stuff was a little. He's just sitting there going, hey, I'm in the original trilogy. Rock.
But like, yeah, I would be interested to see like I said, like a remake of 4, 5, and 6 personally, but I do have to agree with you. I think the fandom would just go, how dare you defile our 10 Commandments of Star Wars?
Yeah, there is a list of 10 Commandments for Star Wars. One thing I got to say, it's very important news that I just found out here. Mm-hmm. Someone has stolen 800 pounds at a Games Workshop store last night. Converted into American dollars, that's $1,179.54. The culprit...
Like stolen out of the safe or out of a register?
Out of content.
Oh,
like
okay.
They stole merchandise. Okay. He took a Kodaks, 6 bottles of paints, and a paintbrush.
Yep.
And speaking of that... With this new year coming on, mm-hmm. Do you have any gaming resolutions, like, for your hobbying and all that jazz?
I was thinking about that, and I have more gaming goals, hobby goals. And I don't really have resolutions because, let's be honest, resolutions are all fake anyway.
Hey. We mean them when they're resolutions. They're goals, they're work.
But when the resolutions, it's...
You have an excuse to get out of them. Don't you understand how this works?
But if it's a goal, it's like, yeah, I have a goal for 2016, but I don't have to reach it. It's like...
Dude, that means you might do it. A resolution, you like totally have the excuse. Dude, it was a resolution. I mean, come on. Don't hold me to that.
Well, my one real resolution is to try my hand at converting up Necron models.
Into what? Transformers? Robotech?
Necron models. Like, not actually convert them, not make them look like something else, take certain styling cues.
Okay.
But, like, because, you know how they go together. They go together, in my opinion, followed closely by the Skitarii models. The Necron models are the most limited for posability and customization. Because the gun's connected to the arm, and the other arm's hand is connected to the gun. And when you force the connection like that to put the gun together correctly, they only can go in a certain pose on the model. And with the Immortals, it's even worse because the cables have to connect from the back to the gun, and only certain guns can connect to certain back cables. So it's the ultimate end has to go together the way the instructions said, or it will look really weird. And I despise that, to be honest. And that's why I like Space Marines so much when it comes to putting together 40K things, because it's kind of like, well, here's the pieces that go together, and here's 15 million kits that can go together. Have fun. You know what I mean? So my thing for Necrons is I think some of the staleness will go away from me, and maybe I'll actually collect a Necron force because I really like them. I've wanted to for a while. If I can figure out a way and improve my kit bashing customization skills and make some fun-looking Necrons. Yeah,
that would be cool.
But that's my biggest problem with the Skitarii. Like, the Skitarii models have specific, like, its specific legs go to specific back and front torso pieces.
That's interesting.
And, like, they have to go together a certain way because of the long flowing coats, or else it won't match up right. And then the legs will only certain legs fit into certain torsos. The other legs physically won't fit in there. And I'm like, this is the dumbest thing I've ever seen. It's just like, why must you limit me so?
I'd have to say what for me, I've got a couple that I want to get done this time. Is one, get all of my Eldar painted, because I've got roughly 20,000 points worth of Eldar sitting on my desk, and I'm like, I'm gonna paint you, and then I go do something else. Want to try and get my Thousand Suns finished, because the models are actually almost done right now until Forge World comes out with Thousand Sun Cataphractii.
Yeah.
Which might be soon, since they just threw out the upgrade kits.
Maybe, but I mean, they threw out the White Scar upgrade kits like 4 months ago, so who knows?
True, but supposedly their book is coming out after this next one.
That's been said for every book that's come out. After the next one. After this one, I mean. No, I mean after this one.
No, but this one, they actually said it this time. They've said it, so it's true, it's true.
And I have to say, I think Korax looks just fine.
Korax looks fine. He looks a lot better now that he's painted. I think the issue was before when he was painted, you couldn't see his head well, so everyone just thought they just took Fulgrim's head and plopped it on him.
What I like now is that it conveys the movement, his head.
Yeah, the hair does look a little weird, but
Well, that's just, to be honest, that's just, I think, the modeling limitation of doing hair. You can't do it particularly well.
Yeah, no, hair is not an easy thing to do.
No. But I think he looks great. My only curiosity is, and my not concern, but I would really like if he had a way to be, represented like when he's just surviving on Ispan 5. Because he doesn't have his jump pack then, he has a heavy bolter, and he's really ragged at that point, and that's the way you can take him. So I don't know how you're going to do that with this model, because it doesn't look like there's going to be an easy way to do that, if at all.
Oh, interesting. Apparently the book for Prospero is going to be called Inferno. Fitting, because of what happens. Fitting.
Yeah, so anyway.
Because things get a
your
little
resolutions,
toasty.
I cut you off just because I wanted to say that about Korax. I think he's fine.
Well, we could go back to that. And I think let me go back to that page where I posted my resolutions for gaming.
There you go. You know what else would be a resolution if I actually knew people who gamed around here was to try to potentially learn a new game. But I don't know.
That was another one thing that was here.
But like, the player group here is too, from what I can tell, is too. Either it's 40K or it's X-Wing, which I don't want to do. I don't want to do it because.
Give in to your hate.
I am. That's why I'm not doing it. But
give in to your hate.
But if I had like a stable gaming group slash a gaming group that would actually do things too, I would be interested in picking up a different game, like a new game, just to learn something. But what that game would be, honestly, no idea.
Pick up Drop Fleet. Then we'd have something to get in with. But my resolutions are: get all my Eldar painted, finish my 1,000 Suns, repaint my Guard into a Lost in the Dam army for my 1,000 Suns.
There you go.
Not buy a new model till the above is done.
Well, that's not going to happen.
Yes, it is. I promise. Give Drop Fleet
the
Commander a
model
shot.
Syndrome is strong. Okay, it's not going to happen.
No. I've been very good. I went to the war store yesterday, and I only bought what I needed, not what I wanted. Except I forgot to buy the paint that I needed.
It's the gaming stuff that you need. You know, that it's not the gaming stuff we deserve, but it's the gaming stuff we need.
I give Drop Fleet Commander a shot because that game looks interesting.
Gotcha.
Get my Zone Mortalis set up to a 4x6 table.
Yeah.
And then the other one is specific to the gaming group that I was posting on, so we won't mention that one.
Right. But
those are mine.
Well, those are, you know, what's good about those is that those are, you know, practical and actually reachable. You know?
They are. Well, aside from the one where I want 6 warlords painted, fully assembled in 3 months.
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, obviously that's everybody's goal. But like, because my goal is also pretty attainable. Like, get better at kit bashing, converting, and try my hand at doing that to Necrons. And if I did have a way to learn another game, I would. That's not counting BattleTech, because I kind of sort of know BattleTech. I do want to learn more about it, and I want to. One thing I will eventually do is pick up the Alpha Strike rules. Those are more actual miniature wargame related, and not so much D&D miniature wargaming like classic BattleTech is with your 2 character sheet stuff per mech. But so yeah, but Fearless Gamers, if you have made any goals or anything like that, post.
Let us know.
Yeah. We are curious to see.
Yes, and so speaking of GW, Forge World had their little birthday thing this weekend.
Yeah.
Few things were announced at it. They announced the content of the next book, Retribution, which is going to be the Rights of War for Blood Angels, Dark Angels, White Scars, and the Shattered Legions. Tylos Rubio is being worked on right now. No characters / new units for the new legions. There will be a Medusan character that can be used as an HQ for all Shattered Legion armies, as he is so close with the Raven Guard and Salamanders. He can be used in different army lists with the alternate Rights of War. Certain equipment will be mentioned for each legion, such as multi-plasma arrangements for Dark Angels and special glaive hand-to-hand weapons for the White Scars. The Keshig will be upcoming for White Scars, as well as a bike squad, but not this book. A new bike has been finished by Blake. The Mastodon and Stormbird will appear. Further info we have also found out is Darren Pearwood is working on a new Knight, a heavy variant Castellan-like.
How many? I mean, the Knights are kind of getting silly and out of hand. I mean, Forge World has made some cool-looking stuff, but when you look at the whole thing about how Knights are given to us, aka in the Knights Codex, and talk to us about them from Forge World itself, it's like there's not many variants left, or not many things, period, and it's like, here's 1,000,001 Knight variants.
that we can all field in 40K. That's the one part that's like, wait, what?
Yeah. Here's a million. Forget the fact where we blatantly state everywhere that the night variants that are in the Codex are really the only ones common in a modern present-day Battlefield of 40K. Here's a bajillion others.
Yep, which you can take all variants of. Oh, but this one out of the 7, you're only allowed to have... You can't have more of it than the others.
And it's just funny to me because how, even if you were to build a pure knight force, that means you have 4 knights. So
yeah.
It's like, I like choice, but now it's getting out of hand.
Though, to be honest, I want to get more Wraith Knights so I can play the Knight mission battle that was made just for Knights.
Yeah.
Because I think that would be fun. But this other weird rumor here that I have, don't understand what they mean by what this information is. Well, it's not really rumor. This is some dude who actually went to the Weekender thing. It was a new field display board is being worked on / planned, which will feature the new Stormbird and Thunderhawk landing pad tiles, which is not being released until the Stormbird is finished, which is apparently so big it might go through the tile. Do they mean it's so big that its weight could have it where the tile can't support it, or that it goes past the size of the tile?
Probably mean past the size of the tile. That has to be what they mean. But,
yeah, that's so weird how they're saying it. What do they mean through the tile?
But here's the deal. The Stormbird is massive, but in my opinion, based on what I understand from the Stormbird and from the Manta should be bigger than it.
I have no clue. Everywhere I go, I hear varying stories. The one book where a Stormbird was in, they don't really describe it. They just go, they came in on a Stormbird. I'm like, okay, it's a Stormbird, whatever that is. And
well, yeah, but Stormbirds are basically not literally giant Thunderhawks, but that was their assault craft for landing down their troops without drop pods pre-Thunderhawk. It's not. Yeah. The Manta is almost a frigate. You know what I mean?
Yeah. The Manta, for anyone's that's described, the Manta was your bomber in Tau for BFG, and they were big enough where they were big enough where their marker was as big as the entire tile for bombers that's supposed to fit 3 dudes on it.
Yeah,
so they're huge.
The Manta is ginormous. The Manta can hold an entire attack fleet and their support vehicles, entire attack group and their support vehicles and battle suits, and launch the army that way.
There's a reason why you get 6 battle suits, 4 tanks, and molded 30 troops sitting in seats, because that's what it can fit.
Yeah, this thing is, in my opinion, now again, the Stormbird. The problem with the Stormbird is some novels try to explain what it carries, other novels don't, and then further still, other novels that make mention of them contradict what other novels have said. So the problem with the Stormbird is the problem of trying to figure out the size of a legion. Too many things conflict.
And same deal with spaceships, how one dude makes it, it's only a meter long, and then another dude goes the same class and it's got hallways that no one knew existed because it was so darn big.
Yeah, so that's the issue there. But it's all well and good stuff.
And supposedly, Stormbird is currently in printing production and will make its first appearance possibly at the next Weekender.
Yeah, sure. But all good stuff. If for 40K / 30K.
Yeah.
I like that. I think that it's gonna be a case of Warlord syndrome / Manta syndrome. Cool, but out of everybody's price range. But
yep. And another piece of information is Russ is the next Primarch, with Magnus being next, both this year. And Inferno, which I assume is the name of the book, is aimed to be out late this year. The only thing I have issue with this is we've got 2 Primarches that have rules and no model. Why aren't we making them? We still need Dorn, and we still need Altharius.
Yeah, I mean...
And they haven't touched them yet, and they have rules. I get it, Russ and Magnus are probably the ones that everyone's, constantly bugging them for right now, but you should still commit to the ones that have rules right now.
Yeah, it is a bit odd, but, You know, I don't know. I'm sure they have a plan.
Yep. The one thing out of all of this is because, like, Russ is probably one of those Primarches where it's like, one, I'll never play, but I'm going to own because of his connection to the Lion and Magnus.
Uh-huh.
I'm just curious if Frecky and Grecky are going to get models.
I don't know.
And if they do, what will they do?
They'll bark.
That's their special ability, bark?
Yes, obviously.
All units must take a leadership check at a -5. Oh, wait, everyone has it. They shall know no fear.
Yeah. This is kind of interesting.
What is interesting?
Well, with Infinity stuff, looks like they're remaking one of the tags that they've had out for a bit.
Infinity the game. Let's take a look at this. Infinity, Achilles,
the
touched by the
Guijia Squadrons, or whatever you call them.
Well, okay, I see the limited edition dude there. The 10th anniversary Infinity in Forward? Is that what you're talking about?
No, it actually says, it says...
Updating
Army,
the Samurai?
The Eugene, Guijia... I can't pronounce anything from Infinity, but...
Let's see,
it's on their homepage. It's one of the things that scroll.
Updating Samurai?
No. It's right at the top of their homepage.
This one? No, there's nothing here. Oh, here we go, finally.
The Guijia, whatever,
yeah, the Guijia Squadrons, the remake.
Yeah.
That is
they don't need to read it. They can read it if they want.
Game by that's with a perfect excuse to resculpt lots of classic models from the Infinity range,
which is pretty cool.
It's interesting.
It's cool because what I like about it is it has a similar feel to like when 40K did some stuff where it's like, hey, we are growing as a company. Here's a resculpt of classic stuff, and
yeah,
you know, to me it feels like a symbol of growth. I mean, if only Infinity would make names for things I could pronounce, that'd be fantastic.
Yeah. Level, let's see. He wants to take them to the new aesthetic level that the Eugene armors have, like the Yan Ho and all this. It's interesting. I haven't seen the original model, so I'm going to pop that in to see what the old model looks like.
Yeah.
It's an interesting idea. I'm kind of shocked that Infinity is doing it first.
What do you mean?
Infinity is one of the War Machine, at least as far as I'm aware, where hasn't actually updated any of their sculpts for any of their models. They've just made, like epic versions and stuff like that, but like the design of them and like how they look has all been pretty much the same. So it's interesting to see, like, Infinity, a newer game company, kind of beat them to the punch in getting a new sculpt out. I would have thought War Machine would have done it first.
Okay, I got you now.
They've done, like, classic versions of models and such, but they all still look relatively the same compared to their original model.
Yeah.
Like, in terms of the look of the armor and the stuff, like, as I showed, I just sent you a pic of the original model.
Yeah.
There's a significant difference between this one and the old one.
There's a huge difference. Which is cool. And what's also cool...
I like the sword there.
What's also cool is...
thing.
Infinity, I don't use it really ever because I don't have the game. But the Army, when it says home, the game, downloads form, ITS store, and Army is kind of like, lets you build, looks like an Army list.
Yep, they basically made an Army builder.
Yeah.
So you can build out your force so you know exactly what you need.
Right, I mean, I like that it's there. Obviously, I don't use it because I know zero things about Infinity Army list stuff.
I wish more game companies did that. Like,
the only thing I wish is that when you click on, let's say, for example, the game, and then you click on a faction, you click on, let's say, Nomads, and then it brings up, you have to, like, then you click more, and then you don't see any, like, I want to see the units. You have to go to the store, and there's a lot of navigation to see what active is available.
their site is very navigation heavy.
That's my biggest complaint with the site as it is now. You have to go all the way to the store just to see the models for particular different factions.
Yeah, but I do here's a question for you. Do you think GW should bring back the army builder that they had on the website?
Yeah. I mean, I think any company any miniature wargaming company could only benefit from somebody from doing something like that, because it lets you go, even if you like, whether you're brand new and you're just playing around with it for fun, or you're a seasoned player with your codex and you're gonna go, or whatever you have, and you're gonna go, let me price out this build.
Yeah, well, like even on GW's side, because let's just face it here, GW, let's just be honest, they don't do a whole lot unless they feel it'll make them money. They could easily do an army builder where you go to the website and let's just say, okay, I got Eldar, okay, and I start building an Eldar list. After the list is done, you could have it rigged with a little like add to cart. So you could either do add army to cart or add unit to cart. So right there, I don't have to navigate back onto your site. I built my army and I go, you know what? I want to get that Wraith Lord. Click add to cart and bam, you already have an add to cart.
That's exactly what I mean. Like, they can only benefit from doing something like that because you can A, price out a list, B, you could start purchasing it immediately.
Yeah. And it's surprising they haven't done anything like that, because like they used to have an army builder on their site, and it was great.
Yeah, and then they used to sold an army builder, which was cool, but they never updated it. So
yeah, like there's a whole lot that they could make money out of. Like the tactical objective card app that they just came out with, I think is a brilliant idea because one, less cards and paper you have to keep track of. And two, if you missed out on one of those limited edition data cards, you could buy them again.
Oh yeah, but like, just to clarify what I said about Infinity, you have to go to the store to see the models. I get it; that's where you purchase it. But when you click to learn more about a particular faction, it should show you the units that they have in their faction. That when you click it, it takes you to the store. Yeah.
Oh no, I totally agree. The one thing I hate about their website is you have to go to the store to see models.
And what's weird, because this is a newer design website, the old website worked that way. I don't know.
Yeah, the old design. Yeah, in honesty, the older website was better.
The older website was better for purchasing stuff a bit, at least for like the layman like me to just check it out. The new one is definitely a lot better quality, and having like the army thing is really cool.
Yeah, presentation wise, it's a lot better.
I just wish it was a bit easier to like check out the factions and see what all they got, because to go all the way to the store just to click on, let's say, Nomads, now I finally see everything that's there. You know, I'd rather be able to read up on them, learn more about them and their units to help me decide if I want to even purchase them or not have to go to the store and figure that out. But that's the only thing. But it's cool, and I do like seeing them growing, because like you said, they're newer, and seeing this is just seeing them do that and resculpt things. It's just cool. That's typically something you see a more established company do. I'm not saying they're not established, but they are definitely like newer kids.
A game that's been around. Yeah. You see it more with a more seasoned veteran game than you see something with Infinity, which just recently got a second edition.
Yeah, and what's really cool is, especially now that Infinity's been around a decent amount of time, all things considered, I like the more and more scenery packs, seeing the scenery of Infinity come to life.
The building packs for them are phenomenal. I mean, they are really cool, and I like the fact that they have buildings for different factions.
Yeah, and what I like about it is it's in the world of wargaming, Infinity's terrain, proper Infinity terrain, is refreshing. It's brighter. Yeah. It's not dreary and terrible.
Half ruined.
I mean, you can make it half ruined if you really wanted to, but even then, it's just brighter. It's more. It's just so much different, because either it's fantasy, and all fantasy terrain kind of looks the same. Let's be honest. Or in sci-fi, really the only game in town that's huge is 40K, which is gothic and dreary and blown up. And this. Yep. And dark colors and slates and gray and depressing, and this is so different and refreshing. I really like Infinity's terrain.
Oh yeah, I like their terrain a lot. And what's also really cool is they made it where you can make bridges.
Yeah.
Like it's a simple thing. You can't really do a bridge without like really hacking up a GW model.
Oh yeah, but it's just the fact. I mean, it's cool that they do that, and
but like that's something I like. I like for some reason, I like bridges in my terrain. Like, I like 2 buildings connected with a walkway.
Well, I like those too, but I like terrain that borders on the impractical for playing on. But I like playing on it. And that's why, because I like it feeling real. I don't like it being like, if it's a city, I want it to feel like a city. I don't want it to have 3 buildings and a hill. All right, that's our city. No, I want it jam-packed.
Yeah, no. Oh, I love making full-on city terrain. I think that's one of the reasons why I like Zone Mortalis terrain so much, because you can just make a full-on, there's no... Every square inch of your game board is terrain.
Yeah, but if you're gonna battle on a forested, hilly area, it's cool. But if we're doing that, then I don't want it to be. I want the hill,
rivers, hills, and forests.
But it's also I don't want a
shrubbery.
Tree. I don't want just one tree that has a forest. No, we're gonna jam pack that area full of trees.
You want caves and rivers and tunnels and obshrubberies.
Yes, I mean
lots
now obviously
shrubbery.
The practicality for playing in any game goes downhill because. Especially when you're able to move through the terrain, because then it's kind of like, well, where do I place the vehicle or the infantry on?
Yeah.
But that's one of the reasons why, as cool as Apocalypse is for me, I don't think I'd really enjoy ever playing it, just because Apocalypse, I almost feel like if you plan to make any progress and you're going to have a bunch of super heavies on the table, you really can't have much terrain. Because good luck moving your Titan.
It's doable. You just have to make sure the terrain is arrangeable and remember where it is when you put a Titan down. That's actually why my Warhound has a building that's removable. So when he's not in terrain, the building is not on his stage. But when he goes through a hill or something, I put the building there. So okay, once he moves, we have to put there's a piece of terrain that has to go where he was.
Right, and this is one of the things. Because Forge World and 40K are the best example of this, because while War Machine has gotten full-blown army size, their big stuff is nowhere near Titans in size. So they're actually still a bit practical. But when you get to hugeness, and let's just look at the biggest one right now, Mantas, if people have them, because how
do you put those on the field?
You need you need something basically as big as a stand for it to stand on, so it doesn't fall.
You need a rig. You need a wire rig to get that thing on the field.
Yeah, so you actually have it rigged scaffolding on the ceiling, so you can actually slide it across like it's flying. But But now let's take the Warlord, right? That's basically, I place it on terrain. It stay on one side of the board. It stays there the entire game.
Yeah, you don't really need to move a Warlord.
But that's unfortunate, because then, not to cheese it, quote-unquote, even though I don't believe in cheese or spam, if you just mass teleported a whole bunch of Thunderhammer, Stormshield, Terminators right to its feet, it has nowhere to go. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it does, because you can, but depending on how you set up your table, you can kind of get them stuck in a corner.
Well, I don't even mean that, but I just mean, the impracticality of moving a model that big on a table that has terrain on it.
Yeah, that's what I say. It's if you build the terrain in such a way, and I know there are a lot of people out there that hate moving terrain, and it's so depending on your situation, you could box them in. Yeah,
so that's that to me, I feel is a big limit. As cool as it is to see the miniature taken out of miniature gaming, because you have macro gaming instead of miniature gaming with these guys. As cool as that is, this is why I like looking at stuff like War Machine stuff or even Infinity stuff, because they have that redesign. That's completely cool looking and it's usable on their games. Their tags are not tag stuck in a corner. You know what I mean? As cool as the gigantic 40K stuff is from Forge World, it's super impractical. It's just weird to me. But But it's just. That just reminded me of looking at all the Infinity terrain. Infinity, I wish I could get into Infinity, to be in all honesty. The D20 system kind of throws me off.
It's interesting. I played it once, and when you read the rules, it's a lot more overwhelming than the actual gameplay itself.
Oh yeah, I gathered that much, but it's not. Aside from the gameplay itself, it's the dice used. D20s. I have no problem with D20s, but I just feel like while it clearly is working for them, it was a risk in a sense of semi reinventing the wheel. Right? It's kind of wargaming / board gaming is predominantly, just everywhere D6s.
Yeah.
Everybody's probably going to have D6s, so I felt it was kind of risky to throw a D20 into the mix, you know what I mean?
It was different, that's for sure.
But like that, and it's just, while I like the look of it, I also, the look of it I have issues with certain things with it, and I don't know, it's so close to me wanting to get into it, but I just can't, for whatever reason, commit. It's so weird.
The only thing I really don't like is that it's not heroic scale, true scale. So the models are a lot thinner and tinier, and I don't like that because I'm afraid I'm going to break them.
The thing about being more true scaled has a couple different meanings, but not being heroic scaled, which is having less. Which heroic scale, for anybody that doesn't know, Fearless Gamers, is basically less realistic.
What 40K is.
It's what 40K is. It's what things like StarCraft and Warcraft models are in game, where it's less realistic, but features are more pronounced. So you get a sense of
your guns are bigger, so you can see them.
Yeah, look at Jim Raynor and Alex Swan. Look how big their arms are. It conveys that they're heroes. You know what I mean? Yep.
And just look how big their guns are.
Exactly.
You don't need to know what they're wielding because they pretty much tell you.
And like the heroic scale, it's a bit more appealing to the eye when you look at the models at that size. It's also a bit. It also lets you not so much put more detail on it, but it makes it a bit easier for the painter to get detail on a smaller model because they go wider typically.
It allows you to enjoy all that detail without having to pick up the model.
Right, but you can get plenty of detail and paint just as easily a normal scale or truer scale dude, but it does especially if you're not used to that scale, it can throw you off for like how am I supposed to paint this?
Yep.
But to me, you know what it is? I think it's slightly too anime-ish. It's just a bit, it's kind of like when food is a little bit too flavored, too salty, like the soup's a little too salty. You can't really enjoy it the way you want to. That's how Infinity is for me. That's the best way I can describe it. But it really is cool, and I think this will make a fantastic video game, to be honest. I think it'll make an awesome video game, just the look of everything.
That would be pretty interesting.
It looks like it would make it, like, it would be awesome. Like, just visually, it would be awesome. Because the stuff is really cool looking in Infinity. And, it's the closest you're going to get to a cyberpunk. I mean, it is basically cyberpunky. But, which is cool. I like that stuff.
Yes. And looking at the time, we are out of time now.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to have to wrap it up here.
We are wrapping it up.
Thank you all for tuning in today. We hope you enjoyed. Let us know what your gaming resolutions are for this year of 2016, goals.
What are your goals and resolutions? And if you are an Infinity player, let us know what you play in Infinity.
Yeah, and what you think about this whole remodel, if you hope that or which models you hope they'll remodel later.
If you like it or not, and do you have a wish list for remodels?
Yes. So that is all for right now. Thank you all for listening, and until next time, Fearless Gamers, this is Matt the Vet.
James the Wild Card.
Saying take care.
Peace.